Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of Daviess County Fiscal Court to order. Today is January 23rd, 2025, and it's, I guess we're back in the habit of being in this building, so welcome to all of you. Commissioner Castlen, would you mind doing the opening prayer and lead us in the pledge, please?
Sure. Thank you, Judge. If you could bow your heads, pray with me. Heavenly Father, as we come before you today, we thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this community and for the many opportunities this day brings to serve our community while also serving you. We ask for your blessing to lead us all to work together in support of doing what is best for one another, for your continued strength and inspiration, and to have the courage to do what is right in your eyes. Thank you for those who have the jobs and do those jobs that have kept our community safe, warm, and fed us as we have endured the extreme weathers. And lastly, thank you for the warmth, or somewhat of warmth, of this day during this dreary time of year. In your name we pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Before we start, I just want to say I've invited our previous county attorney to join us this evening. Our current county attorney's out of state. He had a death in his family, his wife's family, and so he's unable to be here. And Claude's been working for the office, I think on a part-time basis, and so he's agreed to fill in this evening. So thank you.
Welcome.
Brooke, go ahead.
Consideration for presentation. A, proclaim January 30th of 2025 as Audubon Area Community Services Day.
Commissioner Condor, if you'd read this proclamation for us.
Thank you, Judge. Whereas Audubon Area Community Services has faithfully served our community for 50 years, providing essential resources, programs, and support to individuals and families in need. Whereas founded in 1975, Audubon Area Community Services has grown into a cornerstone organization in the region, demonstrating unwavering commitment to enhancing the well-being and quality of life for thousands of people in the Audubon area and beyond. And whereas throughout its 5 decades of service, Audubon Area Community Service has worked tirelessly to combat poverty, promote education, foster economic independence, and ensure the vulnerable populations, including children, seniors, and those facing hardships, have access to vital services. And whereas through partnerships with local governments, businesses, nonprofits, and volunteers, Audubon Area Community Service has touched the lives of countless individuals and families, empowering them to achieve self-sufficiency and dignity. And whereas the organization's work has been guided by values of compassion, respect, and service, making a lasting impact on the lives of its clients and the broader community. Now, therefore, I, Charlie Castlen, Daviess County Judge Executive on behalf of the county, do hereby proclaim January 30th, 2025 as Audubon Area Community Services Day in recognition of the organization's remarkable 50 years of service to our community, and I urge all residents to join in celebrating this milestone and to support its mission for continued success. Presented in Daviess County, Kentucky, this 23rd day of January 2025. Signed, Charlie Castlen, Daviess County Judge Executive.
Thank you, Commissioner. Brandon Harley, I think you're here to, if you would, say a few words for us, and then we'll come down and do the presentation and let folks know what Audubon does.
Certainly. Well, first, thank you, Commissioner Condor. I appreciate those kind words, and Judge and Fiscal Court. Audubon Area Community Services has been around here for 50 years, as you guys know by the proclamation. It's always been a milestone for us to try to reach this 50 years. The work that our staff, our board, our volunteers, and our services do can't be matched. It's the people we touch on a daily basis are very thankful. We keep folks warm, we keep them sheltered, we keep them educated, and we help them thrive. And that's the best that we hope to do to continue to have a thriving community. And so we thank you all today and the recognition of our anniversary. We've got a lot of things going on throughout the year. We hope that the fiscal court and the citizens of Daviess County and the surrounding area join us. And we really hope that to see you guys around in 50 more years from now. So thank you all so much tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you. If you would, let's go.
I'm not speaking. I'm sorry, am I in your way?
Step to the left there, if it's okay.
That's fine.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, looks good. Thank you.
And just so you all know, you do not have to stay for the whole meeting, okay? All right. Go ahead.
B, proclaim January 31st, 2025 as Earned Income Tax Credit Awareness Day.
Commissioner Marksberry.
Daviess County, Kentucky Proclamation, Office of the County Judge Executive. Whereas the Earned Income Tax Credit, EITC, is a critical financial resource for millions of working individuals and families, providing essential support to help meet basic needs and achieve financial stability. And whereas understanding the importance of the Earned Income Tax Credit and other financial resources can empower low to moderate income workers to achieve greater economic independence and security. And whereas promoting awareness of the Earned Income Tax Credit programs, including eligibility and available assistance, is vital to ensure that individuals and families can access the financial support to which they are entitled. And whereas Earned Income Tax Credit Awareness Day serves as a valuable opportunity to educate the public, raise awareness, and advocate for policies that support working individuals, foster financial literacy, and reduce barriers to economic opportunity for all citizens. Now, therefore, Charlie Castlen, Daviess County Judge Executive, does hereby proclaim January 31st, 2025, as Earned Income Tax Credit Awareness Day in recognition of the importance of earned income tax credit programs in supporting economic opportunity and well-being for working individuals and families, presented in Daviess County, Kentucky, this 23rd day of January, 2025. Signed by Charlie Castlen, Daviess County Judge Executive.
Thank you, Commissioner Marksberry. We have Teresa Thomas, if you don't mind coming up and saying a few words, appreciate it.
Hello, I'm Teresa Thomas, and I'm the Executive Director of Green River Asset Building Coalition, which houses the free tax program that has the Earned Income Tax Credit. And not that I'm cheating off Brandon, but it is 50-year celebration for the Earned Income Tax Credit, so we're both celebrating 50. However, we haven't been here for 50 years doing this Earned Income Tax Credit. I can't take that much credit. So we do help those that are, in the low to moderate income, and I will say that this year we start on Saturday, so yay taxes. And we do that for free for the low to moderate, and the income limit this year is $70,000 of family household income and below. And then we also help those seniors, limited English speaking, and those that have a disability. And we do this service free of charge. And we could not do this without our servant volunteer. I mean, they are volunteers across 9 counties. We have 122 volunteers that do this, and they do it every day, Monday through Saturday. And sometimes they're there 4 hours, and sometimes they're there 8 hours. They make sure that they help the individuals get the most credit they can with either the Earned Income Tax Credit child tax credit or any other educational credit that there is available. So again, it's done for free and they e-file. So if anyone here, if you're a senior and 60 and over, we can do your taxes for free, or if you're in that low to moderate income, it's definitely a service that you want to utilize. We are located on Sherm Road now. Some have asked us, so we moved this past year to Sherm Road. So thank you very much. I appreciate everyone in the Daviess County Fiscal Court for supporting this mission because it is needed in our community. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me ask you one question. You said you're located on Sherm Road now. You used to have multiple sites where people can come. Have you consolidated just to the one site now?
Yes, we did that because the volunteers were so spread out, so we moved to one location, so we're under one brick and mortar, and it keeps more of the tax information more secure, and then working through the IRS. We still have the 9 counties that are underneath the GRABC, but here in Owensboro, we've consolidated to one site. Now, if I had someone call me from the college and say they wanted to put a site in the college, I would be happy to do that because it helps those students that are in college to do the taxes, and it also will help them get service hours within school. If they're going to be an accountant, then they can use that for credit from the IRS. So, okay. But right now, yes, we are only under one site on Sherm Road, and that's, I always tell everybody, it's where the old IGA used to be. It's Priceless Foods now. We're in that same shopping complex there.
Okay, so is it you schedule an appointment or you just walk in?
Well, actually, this year we did go to appointments. We've never had appointments before. It's always been first come, first serve, which means you wait in line. Sometimes you can wait an hour, sometimes you can wait 2 hours. But this year on Mondays and Fridays, they can do an appointment. They can go to our website at grabc.org and they can schedule an appointment. The schedule is set from starting on Monday when we take appointments all the way through to April 15th. So they can schedule an appointment or they can come on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and it's a first come, first serve basis at that point. So, okay.
I've referred a number of folks to you all over the years since you've been in the business of doing this, the free tax service, and it's a much needed
and that means a lot coming from someone that's a CPA, because obviously you're in the business to make money and we aren't. So being a nonprofit organization, we appreciate all of the recommendations that we can get throughout the community. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Three, two, one. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
And Teresa, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting either, but all right. All right. Next item, Brooke.
C, 2024 Christmas at Panther Creek Park checks.
All right, this is the fun part. Ross Lee, all right.
Judge, thank you for this opportunity. It's our 20th anniversary of Christmas at Panther Creek, and this year we have been a little short. The calendar as it fell in 2023 was actually 6 days shorter in 2024 than it had been in 2023. So while the amount of money that we collected per day actually increased, the amount of money that we collected over the course of the period of time wasn't as high as it was last year. But be that as it may, we did have a little over 15,000 people to come through Christmas at Panther Creek. That totaled 5,490 vehicles, which is $5 per vehicle, and we collected $27,450, which is a great amount. And obviously, between our 5 agencies tonight, they will each be receiving a check totaling $2,745. And of the 5 agencies, we did receive 28 applications for Christmas at Panther Creek this year. And I would encourage those in the community, their nonprofit agencies in Daviess County, to be able to submit their applications at any point throughout the course of this calendar year. And it'll be in October as to when those agencies will be selected for next Christmas. So our first agency that'll be here tonight is Josh's Broken Feather, Alfie Hatfield. You're welcome. Certainly, you're welcome to make any comments. Yeah.
Thank you guys very much. Some of you are familiar with Josh's broken feather, some of you are not. Our son passed away in 2019 from a fentanyl overdose, and we wanted to create something that would help people not just in the community, but help people outside the community as well. Everyone in this room really has been touched by the drug problem that we have here in Daviess County, in the state, in the nation. And what we wanted to do is to be able to put some accreditation at the end of your name to take care of the felony that may possibly be in front of your name. So we offered a scholarship program through Owensboro Community Technical College. And our thought process was, if you can get accreditation, that will help keep you from being part of the 65% that go back to rehab after they get out the first time. We offer a scholarship program, and we also offer a GED program that is free as well. So as long as you maintain a 2.0 grade point average, we'll continue to pay for your college at Owensboro Community Technical College.
Very
So
good.
thank you guys very much.
If
Thank
you would, just a minute, give us your name for the
Teddy
record.
Hatfield, Teddy Hatfield and Alfie Hatfield.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And if you don't mind hanging around till we do all the checks, we'd like to get a picture.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The next individual is Lauren with CrossRoads Incorporated.
Thank you very much. All right, and I'm Samantha with CrossRoads, but we wanted to thank you all so much. For those of you that are not familiar with CrossRoads, we are an emergency shelter for women and children in food pantry. And we do have beds for 20 women and children, and about 90% of the nights we are full. And we give out about 30,000 pounds of food a month through all of our food pantry programs. And so this money will go directly back into helping us shelter more folks and giving out more food. So we appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you. If you would, Ross, Leslie, if you'd get her back up here, if you would give us your name for the record, please.
Samantha Taylor Kai.
Thank you.
The next organization is Boulware Center. Is there anyone here tonight from the Boulware Mission, Boulware Center? Okay. The fourth agency is Dream Riders of Kentucky, and it's being received by the Wriggling family.
Appreciate it. Hi, Dan Wriggling. This is my wife, Jennifer. We're both on the board of Dream Riders, and we actually got involved because our daughter, who is the remaining member of the Wriggling family that's here tonight, she actually started volunteering out there when she was 14. She had a real interest in helping children with special needs. She was a peer tutor at Apollo and actually Burns before that. And she was looking for an opportunity to volunteer. And someone said, "Hey, I've got a great opportunity for you. Do you like horses?" And she said, "No." And but she said, I do like helping kids with special needs. So she got involved out there. She's now 20 years old. She's now 20 years old. And she's actually one of the instructors out there. So she has gotten a love for horses. Anybody up here like horses? Janie, I know you do. But it's an amazing organization. We've got a lot of great stuff planned for this year, so this will come in very handy for that. We're expanding some programs, looking at doing some stuff with first responders, veterans, in addition to the children that we have traditionally helped out there that started the mission of Dream Riders. So much appreciated for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a great program. Thank you.
Judge, our last agency this year will be received by Steve COURTHOUSE. It is the Green Valley Beekeepers Association.
Thank you. Absolutely. I'm just one of the officers in the club, happened to fill out the application, so I got the honor of coming down here and do this. We're very grateful for this. It will come in handy for using for education, and we promote all aspects of the natural world and conservation. So, beekeeping is a big part of that. So,
thank you. I just curious, how many people are members of your organization?
We keep track of households. From the last calendar year, we had 82 households that were members of the club, and a lot of them have multiple people in the house. That,
Right.
So, well over 100.
Very good.
So we have a pretty good membership and a great club.
Very good.
So
Very
if
good.
anybody's interested in beekeeping,
Well, yes. I just want to say a thank you on behalf of all of our community for the volunteer work each of you all do, and also for stepping up and being our gatekeepers at Panther Creek Park during Christmas at Panther Creek. So I'd like to get a group picture, and then if y'all would like individual pictures, we're glad to do that too.
Oh, you may be about to speak, I don't know. Yeah, are you gonna give a speech, Elijah?
Let's see here. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, that looks pretty good. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
D, Treasurer's Report for December 2024.
Mr. Johnson.
As of December 31, 2024, the total cash balance is $74,662,097.13 for all funds, minus operating reserve and restricted funds. Cash for general fund operations is $32,999,282.31. All variances within the Treasurer's Report are normal, expected, and explainable. All departmental activity is within expected ranges to date. The increase to the general fund from November 2024's balance is due to the first round of property taxes and other taxes received. As we've discussed, the general fund receives a large portion of its operating revenue in December through February through property taxes and other revenues that are received at this time of year, whereas November is typically our lowest cash balance point of any given year. January through February is typically our highest. I have nothing else to report.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions from the court? Next item, Brooke.
E, Senior Community Center Report.
I think we have David Tucker here to share a few words with us. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to come and tell you about the great things that are going on at the Senior Community Center of Owensboro and Daviess County. Do I need to wait?
Yes, he asked you to, just a moment.
Okay. There we are. Let me start with our mission statement, which is to provide and coordinate services and social activities for seniors that enhance their dignity, improve their independence, and encourage their involvement in the community. That's printed on our website and everywhere else that you see anything published for the Senior Community Center. But let's talk about our why. Our why is the people that we serve. So I wanted to highlight a couple of those people. One of those is Guy Connor. Guy has been a volunteer at the Senior Center for 25 years this month, calling bingo every week that he's able to be there. Is celebrating 25 years this month and just recently turned 85 years old. He is so excited to be a volunteer. He was our Volunteer of the Year in 2024. Earlier this month, we started the year with a family birthday party on a Saturday at the Senior Center where Ms. Joyce Sargent celebrated her 90th birthday. The family waited till everything was perfect and in place for her to be able to enter the room, and I was able to stand back and watch as this little 90-year-old lady danced into the room to music from her era and made her appearance in the room. She's been a volunteer at the Senior Center for nearly 30 years. These folks are actively involved in the Senior Center. Guy calls bingo every Wednesday morning, but he's there most mornings to play pool with his buddies. Ms. Joyce is part of our card group and writes cards for other seniors to send out from our volunteer group. They're wonderful people that enjoy their Senior Center, and both of them have made the statement, "We hope we live to see the new Senior Center." We're doing our due diligence, since I mentioned that, to get the best cost of the building. We have a design build bid currently open through the city. Many of you already know that. Bids close on January 31st. So in February, we're anticipating a better look at what the new Senior Center will look like and what the cost will be. Realizing that that's a task that's going to take a lot of work, we have been working with many other agencies in the community and having many discussions about raising funds and contacting businesses and private donors and all of those pieces. Also have scheduled meetings with legislators to discuss what our state and federal legislators may be able to do to help us once we get those final numbers. I've received a lot of positive feedback about the Senior Center and what we will do in the future with it. Realizing that our community has never built a Senior Center, we hope and plan for this to be a flagship for our community and something that can be used not only for seniors, but for other agencies and groups that may want to use the facility as a showplace for their meetings and functions as well. We're also developing and restructuring our staff to be able to keep up with the growth we're experiencing. The average tenure of our staff right now is 5 years, but I wanted to highlight one of our employees. Our longest serving employee is Bob Glass. He's been with us for 18 years as a Meals on Wheels driver. He is now the longest serving Meals on Wheels driver in the grad district. So we're pretty proud to have Bob around doing what he does. In 2024, we accomplished a lot of great things, and we just released some stats this week that I've provided for you. I wanted to highlight just a couple of things. In 2024, we had an active senior base of 1,020 active members at the Senior Center. We ended the year with an average daily attendance of 140 people per day in our center. We also have an additional 250 on average Meals on Wheels clients throughout Daviess County. We gained 316 new members in 2024, which is another record. We've hit a record every year. And almost daily, somebody new comes in our office to sign up to be a card-carrying member of the Senior Center. With 5 congregate meal sites, Meals on Wheels, and our frozen meal program in partnership with Owensboro Health and Morrison Foods, we served 99,438 meals in Daviess County in 2024. You'll see from the other stats that I provided to you that we do a lot more than just have food. There's also education classes, exercise classes, and lots of social recreation, and we're looking to expand that in this new year. Finally, for the last part of my report to you, in May 2024, we made a big announcement that property had been purchased for our new facility. And one of our seniors, after seeing the pictures of the field, which is a cornfield, made this statement: right now, it's a cornfield, but now, today, it's become our field of dreams. Again, this project would not be possible without your support and the support of our community. Therefore, we're looking to explore every option to make the project be what it needs to be for the entire community. We're building partnerships, having conversations about fundraising, seeking grant opportunities, and advocating with elected officials for support. So one more time tonight, I'd like to say thank you to the Daviess County Fiscal Court for your invitation, for me allowing me to be here tonight, and also for your support of the Senior Community Center.
Report, Commissioner Condor.
Thank you, Judge. I am the Daviess County Fiscal Court liaison to the Senior Citizen Center. And since David has taken over, what's been 3 months, 2 months? 2 months. The energy that he brings to the center, to the staff, to our senior citizens that take advantage of the programming is really been a shot in the arm. It has been enthusiastic. The board members now that are there, which you have several new board members, are energized. They're ready to go. And you can see it in everyone's eyes. Every day that I come down and just visit and see, and I just sit back and watch, I can see the energy there. And you know that every one of our seniors, it's high time. It's been a long time coming to break ground and get that facility done. So thank you for what you've done so far, especially even being Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus sitting out there. He moonlights as Santa Claus, just so everybody knows. But it is really great to see that energy come back to the Senior Citizen Center positively and moving forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. And before we step away, I was curious, you mentioned fundraising efforts. Do you have a total yet that you've raised or that you can tell us? Or I know the city's pledged several million. I know the county, we've pledged $2 million.
Right. The city had pledged $3 million plus the purchase of the property.
Yes.
And then the county, the $2 million. And outside of that, we've had, I think, 5,000 come from one and maybe 2,500 from a couple of sources. But we've been on hold waiting for that design and those numbers to come in so that our board can be trained with talking points to go out and begin actively fundraising. We're also working on a few more public fundraisers that will be coming down the road. All of that should be in around the 1st of February for us to really be able to start pushing into our community.
Well, then that's good news. That's good timing then, because I just wanted to let you know, fiscal court with and I've chatted with each of the commissioners. We're going to pledge. We want to help you with your fundraising. We want to offer a $500,000 match. So for every dollar you raise, up to $500,000, we'll match it dollar for dollar. So if you raise $500,000, we'll give you another $500,000. You have another $1 million total.
Wonderful.
And I wanted to announce that this evening, and just to be absolutely clear, the match money cannot come from federal, state, or local tax dollars.
Right.
It has to be from community members or grants or whatever. And I share that with you so that hopefully as you start your process, I want this to be something that the entire community, and I say we as a court, fiscal court, we want this to be something the entire community will embrace and help to be successful. And I appreciate the comments that Commissioner Condor shared, the energy you bring to the position and your board, and I'm very excited about it all. So,
thank you, Judge. So are we, and you're all welcome to come see us anytime.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
That's awesome.
2, consideration for approval. A, minutes of January 9th, 2025, Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. We've all had the minutes for a few days to review. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
B, all claims for all departments.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. These are all the bills due and payable. Do you have any questions of Mr. Johnson, our treasurer? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
C, second reading of KOC A.106.03, 2025-01-2025, budget amendment number 3.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion and second. Mr. Johnson.
The county is required to amend the budget to reflect the receipt and expenditure of unanticipated revenues that were not part of the original budget document. This amendment is in light of an item that was on the prior agenda, the grant agreement between the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development and the County of Daviess, Kentucky for the Grant Program 2024 project for Habitat for Humanity. Daviess County Fiscal Court was unaware of this grant or its need when compiling the fiscal year 24-25 budget. The county will receive and flow through the funds to Habitat for Humanity. The first reading was held in the January 9th, 25 meeting. This is the second reading and adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions from the court? Any questions from the public? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
D, matching funds contribution for the Kentucky Product Development Initiative Grant Program.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Mr. Johnson.
In 2023, the City of Owensboro, the Greater Owensboro Economic Development Corporation, and Daviess County Fiscal Court agreed to apply for a Kentucky Product Development Initiative, or KPDI, grant to offset the costs of the due diligence studies for a planned industrial development site in Daviess County, Kentucky. The City of Owensboro completed the grant application that was awarded by the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development in the amount of $423,500 that would require $211,750 in local matching dollars, with the understanding that the city pays half and the county pays half. Now that expenses are being processed, the City of Owensboro is requesting the county's portion. This item simply formalizes the county's commitment to half of the local matching dollars for the original grant. No document naturally came to the court at the time since the city took the lead on the grant. The county's portion would be processed from the Economic Development Fund. I would recommend your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions from the court?
No.
Commissioner Condor.
Just a comment, please. I did notice in the City Commission's meeting Tuesday evening that their budget amendment did reference this grant itself. Their total was $105,000 something, which is half, I believe, of what the treasurer is saying. They also line itemed it as the Massey property is what they did, so that's public knowledge is what it is. So that is the project, I believe, that is being referred to here, since that was made public at that time. So it was a long process for that to happen, but these type of issues need to be addressed, finding out if something in the floodway or environmental studies, that anything else would have to be done. And there was a grant that was substantial that came from the state of Kentucky, and then the city and county matching 50-50 after that. So just wanted to clarify that it was for a specific site that the city now will be proceeding with. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Marksberry.
Thank you. So, Jordan, I just want to be sure this is for preliminary work on a site, including appraisal, site studies for the Massey property, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I would just like to ask that going forward that we would not participate in any monetary commitments like that unless we're 100% sure that we're going to go in on this type of arrangement. Thank you.
Thank you. The only thing I'll say, Commissioner Marksberry, any time there is property, when it's an industrial site, there are steps that we go through before we make the decision to purchase. So it's not as simple as just us, you look for a site to build your home, say, to where you know it's a good build site. This is property that generally is agricultural, and it needs to be vetted in a very strong way before the decision's made to acquire the land. And generally, I've only got 2 years of being on the EDC board by virtue of being judge executive, but generally there's phase 1 work and then phase 2 work before a purchase is made. So anyway, for what that's worth. Anyone else? Anyone from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next item, Brooke.
E, contract between Davis County Fiscal Court and It Takes a Village Canine Rescue Incorporated for the operation of the Davis County Animal Shelter and Clinic.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion and second, and I'm trying to find my notes. So I'm going to go first tonight on comments. Why is fiscal court considering changes at the animal shelter? In summary, to improve the animal shelter's operations, to resolve organizational issues, and to move the shelter to an organization that can react faster, has far less restrictions, and has better access to funding sources. The Warren County model is far superior to our current model, and my hope is that in time, the Davis County Shelter will evolve and be just as successful. The frustrating part of this is that before we'd even started negotiating a contract, before the facts were even known, false claims and misinformation were flying. None of these were based on actual knowledge of the facts. They were simply rhetoric and falsehoods intended to force the court to decide in favor of a particular group or groups. Fiscal court has never said we would defund the shelter. Fiscal court has never said that all of the employees would be terminated. Davis County funds will not be spent in Indiana, and Indiana's funds will not be spent in Kentucky. Because we were negotiating a contract, both the fiscal court and ITV were limited in how much we could respond to these statements. I want to make it clear that I have complete confidence in the investigation of the options that we went through, the request for a proposal process that we conducted, the evaluation of the proposals, and the selection that we made. I am confident that It Takes a Village has the animal's best interests at heart, and that they are a known and valued member of the shelter community and will be a great partner for us to take Davis County Shelter to the next level. Mr. Hendricks, I think you have some comments to make, if you would.
The judge and commissioners are familiar with the details of the contract. What I would do here is, for the public and for the record, I will read a summary of the contract that's being reviewed. Under the contract, ITV will assume operational control on April 1st. The initial term of the contract is through December 31st, 2027. The contract obviously spells out the duties and responsibilities of both parties. For employees, there's three groups: animal control, the shelter, and the clinic. The three animal control employees are not part of this contract, and their expenses are excluded from this discussion. They will remain employed, though. For shelter and clinic employees that are part of the transition, ITV will extend an offer to hire every employee that's actively employed by Davis County today. Once employed by ITV, which would be April 1st, ITV shall pay the employee's salary at their current rate that it is today. For each full-time employee subscribing to Davis County health insurance today, ITV shall pay 85% of their actual health insurance premiums, not to exceed their current benefit amount. And each full-time employee will get a stipend of 6% in lieu of their current retirement benefit. For donations, if ITV has a fundraiser for specific needs at the Davis County Animal Shelter, 100% of these funds will go directly to the Davis County Animal Shelter. If you designate the Davis County Shelter for a contribution or a bequest, then those funds will be used only at the Davis County Shelter. There is no truth. The Davis County funds will be spent elsewhere. ITV receives Spencer County dollars that must be spent in Spencer County. Evansville donors do not want their funds coming to Kentucky. ITV is completely aware of not only the necessity, but the legality of spending assigned funding in the proper jurisdiction. Anything that you've heard or read to the contrary is a distortion of the facts designed to intentionally mislead you. For general fundraising under ITV brand, The contract contains a provision for allocating those funds, and Daviess County Shelter would receive a generous share. ITV shall include a line entitled Donations Restricted to Daviess County in their annual 990 form. For funding, unless you understand our budgeting and accounting process, it's going to be very easy for you to make a mistake about funding. The first point I would make is there's a difference between total expense and funding. When you look in the budget page and you see the animal shelter, that's total expense. That is not the funding. So when you look at that page, if it had $1 million, it's not proper to say that we funded $1 million. As we do with all departments, we look at the total expense and we subtract the revenues. We subtract third-party payments and we subtract non-recurring expenses. We do that so we don't pay an expense twice. And so we do that with the animal shelter. And it's impractical for me to give a government accounting seminar up here, so just for the record, I will stipulate the following. The contract fully funds the animal shelter at current operating levels until December 31st, 2027. The contract has a 3-year auto renewal provision if both parties agree. No part of the contract assumes or implies defunding. The contract assures that funds are spent appropriately. Each month, ITV will submit eligible expenses to the county, and the treasurer will review the documentation and will reimburse ITV in compliance with the contract's provisions. In addition to the expense reimbursement, the county shall maintain and insure the shelter and the clinic facilities. So in summary, my interaction with the ITV representatives was very positive. They were very passionate about the health and safety of the animals, and they expressed a genuine understanding of their role in Daviess County.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. Any members of the court wish to make a statement? Commissioner Marksberry.
When Judge Castlen put a severe halt on the spay-neuter clinic, I knew I had to do everything in my power to save it. However, the proposal that has been brought forward tonight has many flaws. I feel the need to be accountable to our citizens. I also believe this situation was a massive fail by fiscal court. No matter that it was the judge's decision who halted the spay-neuter program, the rest of us commissioners did not do enough to stand up to safeguard this clinic. I do believe we had the voting power to override the judge executive in this crucial matter. At least we could have fought harder. I wanted to create a new position, a shelter director, to be over both animal care and control, a director who would be on site every day, and a staff, a veterinarian, and animal control officers would report to them. Someone who would be in charge of public outreach, the spay-neuter clinic, a volunteer coordinator, and adoption counselor. With that arrangement, I think we could have saved a lot of time and heartache, as well as a lot of animals, while at the same time improving our services at the shelter. But since that idea got no fiscal court support, this proposal with It Takes a Village was proposed. This was Plan B in my eyes. And so after doing further research, I found that I don't think It Takes a Village is up to the job. I don't think they can keep enough staff or keep enough volunteers. I was not impressed at all with their facility in Evansville, and I was really concerned with how they handled staffing during this past bout of inclement weather. They had to pull every animal out of the shelter in Spencer County and put them in foster homes because they could not care for them. That is a much smaller shelter than ours. With the current number of animals today being in our shelter, we have 44 dogs, 31 cats, so that's 75 in the building, and there are 105 total, some in foster care and at PetSmart. With that current number of animals, that would have been impossible to pull all the animals because they could not staff to take care of them in inclement weather. And with the price they told me they charge for spay-neuter, based on their current rates, that is not sustainable here. That is why, after doing further research, I will be voting no on this plan, because with knowledge comes responsibility. And I will admit I was wrong in thinking that this would be the answer. I agree something needs to be done with the shelter, but this plan is not good enough. We on fiscal court should not just wash our hands of the problems at the animal shelter. We need to stand up and take responsibility. My vote on this proposal is no, and I would beg the court to reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Marksberry. Commissioner Castlen, anything?
Yeah, Judge, thank you. I want to say too, if I thought this was the wrong thing to do, I wouldn't vote on it. With all the information that we've had and the visits I've made with ITV and the meetings with them as well, I am very confident in their abilities to do this job and to take over our shelter and to be able to provide a great service for Daviess County. And if I did not think that it was going to be above and beyond what we've done, I wouldn't vote for it as well. But I am confident in their abilities to do this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Condor.
Thank you, Judge. You know, it's been a year, basically, since this discussion's been going on, good, bad, or ugly, and it has been, in a lot of different ways. And visitations, just reading a lot of emails, text messages, whatever that you want to talk about. That's been going on for a year. It's been too long. You know, needs to happen sooner than later, much sooner than later. This contract itself is what's on the table right now. But I do believe what started it was the issue with low-income spay and neuter. You know, for that misuse of handling that at that time when that was discovered is what resulted in shutting it completely down. As earlier indicated by Jim Hendricks, there is a method where funds can be used to address that issue in particular. And what I'm talking about, and I've referenced this before, is we have the Carl Henry account. And he was a local veterinarian that was very passionate about animals. He actually had a bequest that was given to Daviess County Fiscal Court to look after animals. Those funds have since been depleted, I believe, for at least 10 years, if not longer, correct? But we still have funds that are in that account, and they are. There are funds that come in from bequests. There are funds that come in from other areas that are placed in that account for other uses, is what they're for. And so as Mr. Hendricks indicated, if someone wants to put funds or make funds available to fiscal court for the shelter, they can be placed in that account and accompany a letter of what you may want to do. Do you want to do X, Y, or Z? Nothing is preventing that at all, and it must be used for that. So I believe if we've had I think we've even had a recent bequest that was given to fiscal court. Not for sure if it's cleared or not, but I think we have. What I would propose is once we are finished with this tonight, is to address the spay and neuter of our pets in this way. Whatever the money is in that account, whatever it is, that we begin now, beginning February 1, through the end of the year, spay and neuter every pet in Daviess County for free until the money runs out. Once that money is gone, and hopefully maybe somebody else will replace that funds to keep it going, what that will do is in the short term, what will it do? Address a significant overpopulation of our pets that we so dear and love. That's what it will do. And those funds are not taxpayer funds. They're actually monies that are donated to us for that specific care. So I would, once this is finished, I would highly recommend that we as fiscal court advocate at least for that program to be instituted and watched over for this year, assuming the funds are there, until they're gone. Thank you, Judge. And remember, everyone, we're doing this for the pets that are a part of our families. And we all have passion. We all have love for them. And the great thing about it is we're all here to advocate for that, including those individuals on the dais. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner. At this point, I will open it up. If there's somebody who wants to speak for the group, I I don't want to sit here and let everyone speak, but if there's somebody who would like to get up and make a few comments, you're welcome to do so. Okay, you got to come to the mic, sir. State your name and address and say your piece.
Jeff Harris, live in Maceo, 720 Onsel Road on a farm that Larry sold me and said never would flood, but you know. So anyway, you know, we're very concerned about this, and you mentioned a lot of the stuff is, you know, where's the money going to go and how's it going to go here? And I saw a copy of the contract where it says 50% or 47% is going to stay in Daviess County of fundraising, and then there's a smaller portion to the other groups. I'm with Janie. If you've been over the facilities, you'll see that you know, you can't even read the the sign on the front of the building that says it takes a village, especially since Spencer County. It hadn't been painted since its inception. So that's, you know, one of the things there. And, you know, I've lived in Owensboro for almost 65 years, and I've seen a lot of stuff between like city and county that can't get along, and our industry's moving out and everything. I lived in a house in Lake Forest that had county fire department in Philpott, and it took 53 minutes to get the fire department from Sargo to my house, which then resulted in, I hope I had something to do with the fire department out there on Daviess County. So I see how the county works and this kind of stuff. And moving this out of the county is one of those things. You're giving it to another venue outside of the county. You're not keeping it within the county to do that. I've got some questions about the Carl Henry Fund. You know, as of June 30th of 2023, it had $65,000 in it, okay? How has that been used for the existing shelter, and where has it been at this point? So, you know, these spay-neuter clinics that people have wanted to do, this could fund a lot. And the nonprofits here in Owensboro, if given us a target, we could fund that to not only fund the spay-neuter clinics, but fund a managing director. And this outfit, if you've ever thinking about that and considered it, and leaving this with the county and having people be more satisfied with it being local and staying with us, that's something to think about. Because this Carl Henry Fund, I don't think it's a nonprofit, although it's been sort of, the Friends of Daviess County is where you write a check to be deposited into that, but it goes into fiscal court. But I understand that not everybody knows where that money goes or has access to it when they have a need. So what I'm asking you is to reconsider before you guys vote on that, to possibly giving some nonprofits, some new ones, some existing ones, to join a collaboration to get together to fund that Carl Henry Fund, to add one more employee to the county Animal Control Center, a managing director, to look at this and see how things would operate based off that. It's an idea, it's a comment, but I really wish we would consider that before we vote on this.
Thank you, sir. Okay. I'll let you speak, and then we'll have our vote. Your name and address for the record.
My name is Mary Alvey, and I live at 625 Hillbridge Road. And technically, it's not Utica, but yes, Utica. I want to give you a very quick background. I have been a veterinary technician for 26 years. I have done rescuing for 26 years. I am from Owensboro. I moved out to Washington State, worked with rescues out there, and now I'm back here. My husband's a veterinarian. I am very inundated to our animal community. I am not saying that It Takes a Village is not a good group, because I think anybody that puts themselves out there to rescue animals deserves a pat on the back. But I do not think that they are able to take on this job. I don't think they can handle it. And I do know for a fact that one of the other local rescues that did put in a bid have more of a community, have more volunteers, have more staffing that can. Another concern was, I read through the meeting of last week, and you said that one of the reasons why this even came up was because of the turmoil within the shelter. My concern would be is bringing in an outside group to help with that turmoil would cause more turmoil. Why not give it to someone that has worked closely with all the groups within the shelter to where they would accept them in and not have additional turmoil of trying to come in and manage them? I've been a manager for corporates, Home Depot, Staples. I've run animal facilities, pet resorts. I have been there. Bringing someone in from outside is going to cause more turmoil than bringing someone in that they all are aware of and have worked closely with for many, many years. That would be my concern. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and call the vote. Brooke, if you would, I'd like to do this as a roll call vote.
Yes. Judge Executive Castlen,
Yes.
Commissioner Conder,
Yes.
Commissioner Marksberry,
No.
Commissioner Castlen.
Yes.
So vote carries 3-1. And next item.
F.
No, I'm sorry. I wanted to give It Takes a Village. I know there's two folks here. If you'd like to get up and say a few words, you're welcome to. If you'd rather not, that's fine too. If you would, for the record, state your name and address, please.
My name is Amanda Green. My address is 2800 Lake Drive, Evansville, Indiana. So I do want to thank the court for having faith in us. We have done, and I will respond a little bit to the facilities. So anybody that has been to our facility, no, it is not the most glamorous. What I can say, in the 15 years that we've been in existence, we may not have the nicest paint job on the outside, but we have helped over 13,000 animals. So what we do have goes directly to our animals. We have worked very close with the Daviess County Shelter. We just yesterday pulled 7 dogs to help them out with overcrowding. So that is not anything new. We may be outside, we're just across the river, but we have worked very closely with the Daviess County Shelter for many, many years. And Commissioner Marksberry, I did want to address, our Spencer County was not a staffing issue as much as a location issue. When we had the ice, it was not safe for our staff to get to that facility. So we preemptively took the animals out to our facility to make sure that they had homes and they were not stuck without power. So it was not that we didn't have the staff. We did not want our staff driving in the ice to get to that location. We have never had to do that at our Evansville location. I do not foresee that we would ever have to do that here at this location, but we put our animals and our staff first and foremost. That is what we plan to do here as well. So I thank you for the court for having this opportunity, and we believe that this will be a great fit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
F, purchase one 1998 American Pumper fire truck from St. Joseph Volunteer Fire Department.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion, second, Mr. Johnson?
This pumper was recently replaced for St. Joseph with the purchase of a new unit. And rather than have St. Joseph sell this unit to an outside agency, Chief Jeremy Smith would prefer to keep it within the fleet as it is in better condition than another unit at the Masonville Volunteer Fire Department. Since St. Joseph was expecting the proceeds from the sale, they requested that Fiscal Court purchase the unit at a reasonable price so as not to upset their cash flows as they had planned for the sale to offset the purchase of their new unit. Chief Smith and St. Joseph obtained 3 quotes and arrived at the price of $50,000. Judge Castlen has reviewed this price and found it to be reasonable. I see no issues.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
No.
The only thing that I'll say is St. Joe, thank you for agreeing to let us have this truck, and not have it, but purchase it. So, Commissioner Conder.
Thank you, Judge. Just to follow up, use of that engine itself will be done according to what Chief Jeremy Smith has told me as backup that can be utilized at any of our Daviess County Fire Departments in particular. Is the main purpose of buying this pumper. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So it is a little bit of redundancy just in case things happen to have one on in the inventory to be able to use.
And having that backup is one of the reasons we were able to achieve the ISO rating that we received. So It's a very important acquisition for us. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
G, change order 7 for bid number 2324-67, courthouse renovation project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second. Mr. Johnson?
This change order is comprised of several items. First, the demolition of the ceiling and walls in the fiscal court offices and the clerk's offices on the first floor were performed by EACI instead of Lanham Brothers in light of the abatement procedures dictated by the state. This resulted in a deduction of $40,000. Second, no replacement of door number 204 was necessary, resulting in a deduction of $5,200 for the work estimated. Third, the light fixtures could not be removed per the state. Judge Castlen was advised and made the decision to leave the existing lighting in place and address them in the future due to the high cost of having an abatement contractor replace the lighting per the state's procedures. This resulted in a deduction of $62,421. And lastly, new joists were added to the project to accommodate the new lay-in ceiling due to the abatement on the first floor and second floor hallways, second floor stairwells, and the ceiling of the first floor stairwells requires finishing, resulting in an addition of $45,965. This change order is a net deduction to the total contract in the amount of $61,656. The new contract total in light of this change order is $3,713,150. Project manager Joe Paul Pickett has reviewed these items with the contractor and found no issues. I would recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions from the court for Mr. Johnson?
No.
Commissioner Condor?
Thank you, Judge. Treasurer Johnson, could you give us maybe a little bit of a timeline when we're going to get back in our home? Just a little bit.
I have been told that May of 2025 at the latest.
I'm glad you said 2025. Thank you, Judge. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. It's a cold walk during the...
Well, you know, yeah.
Yeah. Any comments from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
H, accept proposal by Audubon Environmental for abatement services.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second. Mr. Johnson?
This proposal is to abate areas of the coroner's office, clerk's office, and PVA in the amount of $53,550 as directed by the state's procedures to accommodate refrigerant lines and new plumbing pipes to relocate the second floor bathrooms. Additionally, there is a not-to-exceed cost of $40,600 for Audubon Environmental to continue to perform air monitoring and obtain samples for compliance with the Kentucky State Division of Air Quality throughout the remainder of the HVAC replacement and residual abatement phases. Project manager Joe Paul Bickett and the Kentucky State Division of Air Quality have reviewed this proposal and find it acceptable given the work to be performed. I see no issues.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions for Mr. Johnson? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, accept quote by B&B Technologies for Microsoft Exchange server upgrade.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion second. Mr. Johnson?
Our Microsoft Exchange server is the control hub for our county email and calendars. It is running on an operating system that has reached the end of its life in terms of support and patch updates from Microsoft. The operating system and servers are relatively inexpensive, approximately $580 each for the 3 required. However, the bulk of the expense is in the user licenses associated with Microsoft Windows and Exchange to give us access to software updates and patches. You'll note that we did not bid this item. Microsoft does not allow a direct purchase of the licenses given the limited number of vendors who can provide the proprietary servers and licenses, and since we are obtaining hundreds of those licenses, we instead obtain 3 competitive quotes to save publication costs, the lowest of which is presented by B&B Technologies in the amount of $28,437.97. We remain in compliance with state law since the state's bid threshold is $30,000. This is a budgeted expense and recommendation by Department Head of IT Wayne Swift. I would recommend your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions from the court?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
J, KYEM, Emergency Management Assistance Program, non-supplementing certificate.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson?
This certification states that Daviess County Fiscal Court will not pursue grants through this particular program for items that are already budgeted, meaning we will only request assistance for items we would not otherwise pursue without grant funding. We approve this annually and is a standard certification required by state EMA. I would recommend your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions for Mr. Johnson? No. Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
K, memorandum of agreement between the Commonwealth of Kentucky Department of Military Affairs, Division of Emergency Management, and 120 local jurisdictions of the Commonwealth to establish an agreement for an emergency management assistance program.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Johnson?
This agreement is for the Emergency Management Assistance Program, which is the pool of funds that we tap in order to recover a percentage of emergency management employees' salaries. We participate annually, and it is a program available to all 120 counties in the Commonwealth. I would recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions from the court?
No.
Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
L, change order 1 for bid number 2425-39, fire hydrants installation project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Sturgeon?
Yes, Judge. After identifying fire hydrants that require extension kits, the vendor will begin installation on hydrants which require the extensions. This change order in the amount of $10,000 covers the cost of the additional labor to install the extension kits on 20 fire hydrants and will be fully reimbursed by the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority Grant Assistance Agreement approved in fiscal court session held February 6th of 2024.
Thank you, Ms. Sturgeon. Any questions from the court? No. Commissioner Connor? No. Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
M, rescind bid award for bid number 2425-08, one new half-ton four-wheel drive crew cab pickup truck for fire rescue.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Got a motion second. Ms. Sturgeon?
Yes, in August of 2024, we awarded a bid to BF Evans Ford as the best evaluated bid for one new half-ton four-wheel drive crew cab pickup truck for the Daviess County Fire Rescue. Their bid stated an estimated delivery date of October 7th of 2024. However, the vendor has not been able to provide a firm delivery date and has rescinded their bid submission. We have already issued a new bid document for this.
Thank you. Any questions from the court? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
N, award RFP 02-2425, GPS fleet tracking system.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Sturgeon?
Yes, Judge, we received 14 proposals and recommend award to the best evaluated proposal submitted by Motive in the annual amount of $26,448. This request for proposal is for a comprehensive system which includes dual on-road and in-cab cameras to replace our current GPS fleet tracking system. This new system will provide a higher rate of connectivity to cellular networks for more reliable data and include in-cab and on-road cameras for driver behavior monitoring and video footage for reportable incidents such as a collision. Currently, fiscal court spends $11,000 annually for a GPS monitoring on 34 units in select departments. This proposal will include all of the above-mentioned features for 76 units across all departments, save fire and sheriff.
Thank you, Ms. Sturgeon. Any comments, questions from the court?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
This was just kind of odd to me because I just wasn't aware we had this. So the employees that are tracked like this, were they aware when they were hired that that was part of their job, that they were going to have, GPS tracking? And I have a couple questions, honestly. So also, how was this change explained to them now that they're going to have cameras on them while they're driving? And I noticed we had one for the IT person. I don't understand why they need a GPS tracking system. So I would just like that explained a little further to me why we made this change, if we could, please.
I'll just say there are things that I'm not going to speak to on out here that have come up. Is what has driven my recommendation to make this change. My predecessor, Judge Mattingly, he's the one that started having the GPS system put in the ones that he did, and I have no idea why he didn't do all of the vehicles. He only did some. One of the problems we have with the I think from a standpoint of protecting the county and county tax dollars in the event of a bad accident or something, I think this is a tremendous asset. And that's really what has driven me to go this direction.
Okay. Are the employees aware, I guess, that
Well, they
this
certainly,
change is coming?
it's certainly, I don't know that they're aware that change is coming, but they certainly are going to be aware that it's happened because it's going to be very obvious. It's not like it's a hidden camera.
Okay. Seems a little big brother, but, okay.
Anything else?
No,
You might,
not-
I'll make a comment, Judge.
Go ahead.
Because Commissioner Marksby, I really understand and can see that concern coming from, my previous occupation a few ago, being a police officer. And that was one of the things that, with the cameras, similar circumstance, not the same exactly, but similar, with, bringing cameras into your workplace like that, watching you all the time. And it was, met with objections and concerns and kind of that big brother's watching you kind of thing. I had those concerns too. And then, as I went through where there were incidents that, where there were allegations made or accidents that occurred, those kind of things that happened, the camera showed more times than not that employees were doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, and, doing a little research on this, because kind of seeing, not familiar with it in the civilian world as much, but looking at it from like, I think it was American Trucking Institute or American Trucking Research Institute, that indicated that the insurance claims for those that use the cameras and the monitoring systems actually have been helped by the use of those systems as far as the frequency that payouts happen or whether or not it even goes to a trial versus a settlement, whether the settlement would be, paying because they messed up, or if it's because the people see, okay, I've seen the camera, this car did pull out in front, whatever it is with that. But for the more that it's, and also my job as internal affairs at the police department, it exonerated more police officers than what it hurt. So, and I say this because I had the same concerns, and over 20 years ago, I was thinking the same thing. But seeing it as I have and seeing how it's progressed, I also found out that, if you're not recording something, there's somebody else that is these days. And I feel like this gives us, having these in our vehicles gives us an ability to, it lets the employees know that it keeps that fresh on their mind so that somebody else is not recording them and they accidentally do something not realizing it or not thinking about it more. And now it puts it more in the forefront of their mind of although it is something else to contend with their employer with the video, but now as they think about it, it helps them to reinforce the good habits they have and hopefully get rid of any bad habits they have too.
That makes sense. Does it give them any kind of warning, like if they're being distracted or something, like a little ding or a nudge or anything? Do you know if that works that way?
Yes, there is a reportable incident. It does, there's a light that will flash, a tone will be played.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
And the other thing that I really like about this is when Candace dug into it, is the opportunity for us to use this for training, for improving behavior when you're driving.
Okay, thank you for the explanation,
Yes.
everyone.
One more thing, Judge, I'd like to say is
Sure.
that, it kind of went back to now for those police departments that don't have them, you're behind the curve and it's what are you trying to hide? I mean, that could be a while off for things like this for public entities, but I feel like it's one of those things that's going to come up for us in the future as well. Maybe not, but that's just how I see it.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Okay. All those in favor, any comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
O, playground lease agreement with Diocese of Owensboro.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion, second, Mr. Smith.
Yes, at the meeting last week, or last month, or earlier this month, whenever it was. At our last meeting, we approved an agreement with the Daviess County Public Schools in order to lease their property for the playground associations. This is to lease the Knoxville Playground, Mary Carrico Playground from the diocese. This is an annual lease. Nothing's changed, legal as approved.
Thank you. Any questions from the court? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
P, playground lease agreement with Stanley Playground Association.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Mr. Smith.
So in this case, the fiscal court owns the playground at Stanley, and so this is a lease agreement with the Stanley Playground Association directly for their use, and it holds the same restrictions that the public schools and dioceses place on the same fields. That way, all of the playground associations are operating under the same rules and restrictions.
Thank you. Commissioner Condor.
I do have a question, maybe Mr. Smith or Mr. Johnson may know this, but did I just hear recently that the Stanley Playground, their lighting project, was there funding that came through on that finally, or something like that that happened? Did anybody know that?
It's back in our court. I think I think Tom can actually address with a lot more details and maybe more freer with his comments.
Thank you.
I don't think I'm going to be very free with my comments because DLG might not like my comments. Earlier, was it Friday, I think, we got an email from the Department of Local Government saying that they are preparing to submit that grant now to National Park Service for the grants to be approved. What happened was we applied for money for the lighting. We actually submitted the grant application in May of 2023, and the state approved it. And then I'm not quite sure what happened between then and now, but they just dropped it back in they dropped the ball back in our court on Friday, and they said, we need you to get these other additional documents put together and resubmitted to us by February 28th. And I've knocked out 5 of the 6 documents. I still have some questions for DLG on what they want. And that's the only thing that's holding this up. So once they get back to me, and they have some questions about a timeline, and I'm not quite sure what they're exactly asking. So once they get that cleared up, I'll fill that out, and we could submit these documents, and then they'll send it on to the National Park Service, where, as I understand it, I can't swear to this, but as I understand it, once the governor approved the grant, which he has done, National Parks, I think, it's basically a rubber stamp for what the governor has approved, because the money is allocated to the state, but National Parks has to sign off on it. So I'll get this up to them as soon as possible. I'm still waiting on DLG to give me some guidance on one of the documents, but once we get that, we'll get it submitted. Like I said, I'm not quite sure why it's taken this long, but it has.
Thank you, Tom. Government just moves way too slow.
Well, I do know that they've had some turnover at DLG, and one of the people who was handling this, she passed away. So I think some transition there, and I don't quite know. I do know this woman's death, I think, did put some things behind in getting the approval, moved it forward. But we're working on it, and we will get it sorted out as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, and I say thank you, Tom, too, because this is something it's been real frustrating, because I know the lighting out of Stanley, came down, and again, that was a decision.
Yeah.
It came down in a storm, the big windstorm that we had in 2023, I believe, and we've applied for this right behind that.
Right.
And normally these things flow pretty quickly.
Yeah, we're not quite sure why.
Yes, and anyway, I appreciate you being here to answer the question.
Yeah, fortunately I was here. Yeah, but we're working on it. We'll get it straightened out as quickly as possible.
Yes, sir. Any other questions or comments from the court? Any comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Q, playground lease agreement with Whitesville Playground Association.
Motion to approve.
A
Second.
motion and second, Mr. Smith.
Yes, like the previous one, the Whitesville Playground Association takes place at the park that we have at Whitesville. This is not to be confused with Whitesville's park. We have the softball fields that used to be, or that were behind the old Whitesville School on 764. And so like the Stanley one, we own the property, so we have an agreement with the Playground Association directly, again, holding the same conditions and rules that they have to follow for us, that all the other playground associations have to follow.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Any questions from the court? Any questions or comments from the public? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
R, concessions contract with Owensboro Davis County Babe Ruth League.
Motion to approve.
Second.
You got a motion and second, Mr. Smith?
Yes, this is also another annual contract. In lieu of the fiscal court hiring and running the concession stands at Panther Creek Park for the different, not only recreational leagues that operate out of there, but also for the tournaments that operate there, we allow the Owensboro Davis County Babe Ruth League to operate the concession stands as a fundraiser for them, and relieves us those responsibilities. And so this, again, is an annual contract to allow them to operate.
Thank you. Any questions from the court? Any questions from the public? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
S, renewal of the sports facilities license agreement with Davis County Youth Soccer Association.
Make motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and second, Mr. Smith?
Yes, we have a contract with Owensboro Davis County Youth Soccer Association for the soccer fields at Yellow Creek Park. It was a 2-year agreement with a 2-year renewal at our discretion, so this is merely exercising the 2-year renewal.
Thank you. Any questions from the court? Commissioner Condor.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Smith, the signatory page on this lease agreement with the Davis County Youth Soccer Association, who is the president that signed that, please? Do you know?
Is it Bussey, John Bussey?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any questions from the public? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
T, real estate purchase agreement for real property located at 7744 Highway 2830, Maceo, Kentucky, 42303.
I'll make motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Commissioner Marksberry.
Okay, I'm going to recuse myself from this vote and step out.
Mr. Johnson, if you would, let her step out first. Go ahead.
This item is to purchase approximately 13.07 acres of property in Maceo, Kentucky in the amount of $135,000. This property abuts the 76.28 acres already owned by the county that is operated as a shotgun range. The court has been attempting to acquire this property for quite some time to afford options for the shotgun range, especially since this property runs alongside the range's entrance, with approximately 1/3 of its acreage being outside the floodplain. This is a budgeted expense, and I see no particular issues.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions, comments by the court? No. Commissioner Condor.
Thank you, Judge. This has been a long time coming. I wanted to clarify some things about this property. It is abating the shotgun range, and if anybody goes out there and looks, you will see that the property needs substantial cleanup. I mean, substantial. And that would be the first priority, is to get it cleaned up as soon as we possibly can. Once that is done, the next piece is probably using it maybe for overflow parking, as we had for the state tournament last year, that people were just parked down the road is what they were done. So that is a high probability, actually, not a possibility, for that to get done. The other pieces, there are other avenues of private sponsorship that other uses might come into play. That's way down the road, probably. And we always want to make sure, though, that we don't interfere with the private sector, that whatever we do, that is not going to intrude on that. And plus, we want to make it safe for all of our citizens, regardless of what the business model is that we pursue. So I'm glad that it finally got done. So Judge Mattingly, former Judge Mattingly, maybe he's excited. I don't know if he is or not. Who knows if a judge ever gets excited.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm very pleased we've reached this stage. Any comments? If you would, again, state your name and address for the record.
My name's Cheryl Brown, 2808 Turf Road Drive. Mr. Condor, is this the same range that we were talking about earlier? Is this, that was in the Owensboro Times today? Is this for that shooting range?
Yes, the shotgun shooting range.
And I guess I would just ask for the court to take that, to consider, make considerations. I don't want my tax dollars going to a shooting range. I mean, if people want to go, that's wonderful, go shoot. I just don't want my tax dollars going to it, and I hope you all carefully consider that for those of us that, I'm not sure if you all have done a study on how many would use that and if that is public information, but just a concern I have.
Thank you. Anyone else? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Do you want to get Jamie?
Do you have to?
If you get Commissioner Marksberry, don't read it because she comes back.
You accept the resignation of Kaya Severs effective January 18th of 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. I want to thank Ms. Severs for her years of service. And any other comments?
She was an animal shelter employee, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Just was curious about that. Thank you.
You're welcome. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
V, reclassify Natalie Mayfield from part-time to full-time effective January 19th of 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
W, appoint Teudis Perez. James Aaron Wilson served 3 terms to the Oasis Board effective December 2nd, 2025 through December 31st of 2027.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. I want to thank Teudis for agreeing to serve our community in this role, and also want to thank James Aaron Wilson for his service to our community. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3, consideration for discussion. A, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court. There is none that I am aware of. B, public comments.
This is the part of the meeting where we invite the public to come forward, state your name and address, speak to anything that has not been covered on the agenda, if you wish. Any takers tonight? Don't see any.
C, comments by Daviess County Fiscal Court.
Commissioner Condor.
Thank you, Judge. Just a couple of items of just interest. Recently, Puzzle Pieces had their lip sync battle, and if you haven't seen it yet, you need to go online and look at the last performance of the night, which was done by the farmers of Daviess County. In the beginning of it, it was maybe first 2 minutes a little hokey, I guess, but that last minute, it rips your heart out of what they did. So I highly recommend, and those individuals that were there were farmers: Brian Cecil, Gary Cecil, Katie Reed Clark, Mike Estes, Jim Gillis, Jennifer Poole, Billy Reed, Brad Reed, Keith Riney, Dustin Warren, and Suzanne Cecil White. The oddest part about that is I never thought I would see Billy Reed in a cow costume, but he was. Number 2, the inmates that rescued the individual on the bypass, the individuals of Brian Boham, I think Jalen Cox, Nicholas Edge, Joshua Powell, they, as inmates, rescued someone from an overturned semi. That's good work. That's good deeds. That is what Art Maglinger, Jailer Art Maglinger, is doing, instilling a kind, better heart in those inmates. Thank you very much for that. Lastly, recently the Chamber had their community celebration of awards, of Business of the Year and everything else. And I wish to take this time to congratulate the Nonprofit of the Year. Specifically, that was the Opportunity Center, and the Executive Director is, of course, Rosemary Condor. My wife, and I've told so many people, and you now see it, she does a much better work than I do, and it's evident in that award. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Marksberry.
Thank you, Judge. I wish Mr. Harris had not left because I wanted to respond to his question about what happened to the Carl Henry Fund animal shelter money. And please correct me if I'm incorrect, but I believe that $200,000 of that went to renovate our clinic, to add the spay-neuter clinic and to hire the vet. I don't know if anyone wants to respond to that and let me know if that's true, if that's where that money
Go
went.
ahead, Mr. Johnson.
So it was approximately $200,000 that offset the capital cost of the spay-neuter clinic, which totaled near $800,000.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And then, Larry, you mentioned doing spay-neuter with some of the rest of the funding, and I think that's a great idea. But one of the things that did bother me about It Takes a Village is they charge much more per cat. It was $100 per cat is what they told me for a, just a stray cat. So no one is probably going to bring in a stray cat and pay $100 to get it spayed or neutered. So that's my concern. But with that being said, I will definitely support them 100% now that the court has made this decision, because I just want what's best for the animals. And I really hope that, the shelter volunteers will stay, they'll step up, and that they keep the employees as they've stated. And we got to get this animal overpopulation under control. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, and I'm pleased to hear you say that you will support them now that the vote's been taken. And I encourage all of our community to do the same, to follow your lead on that. Go ahead, Commissioner Castlen.
Thanks, Commissioner Marksberry. Want to let everybody know that this Saturday is the NAACP Freedom Fund Banquet. It is 6 to 8:30 at Breast University. It's a fundraiser as well, since it's the Freedom Fund Banquet. So if you want to, there's still tickets available, so please contact our local NAACP for tickets. Also, thank you, just like in the prayer tonight, to all those people who've been outside doing the work while it's been cold and everything that's going on with that. And with that, Daviess County Sheriff's Department had their award ceremony this week. Thanks for the invitation, and congratulations to all those deputies and staff that received the awards that they did. Commissioner Condor, couldn't agree with you more that your wife does much better work than you, but hey, mine does too, than me. And so happy birthday to my wife, who for today, for 10 more days, will be older than me. So happy birthday, Stacey.
Thank you, Commissioner Castlen. I just want to echo the comment Commissioner Condor made about the inmates who helped in the, the Lord is good. I think a state road crew was out there patching potholes, I believe. And then we had inmates that I think were picking up trash, and the inmates were at the same site because someone else had already had a wreck. I'm going to say it might have been a minor wreck. It was an automobile rather than a big semi. And then the semi, and so a lot of stuff had gotten spilled out into the second lane. And so the entire road was closed, actually blocked, I believe, by the inmate crew truck. That he blocked the road till it could get cleaned up, and then the semi comes down through there. And to your point, the inmates certainly jumped in to help the deputy and one of the road crew people get the fire out on the semi that was overturned. The driver was trapped. Both doors were smashed down to where they couldn't be opened. One of the inmates grabbed I believe a jack, and busted the window to where they could get access to the driver and pull him out. I attended a recognition ceremony at the jail just the other day, and the driver was there to be able to thank the inmates personally. And it was a cool moment. And as our jailer Maglinger said, it could have been so much worse. And so again, I say the Lord is good. Is there anything else, Brooke? Without further business, this meeting is adjourned.